Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included in our one duplicant challenge here. In between the episodes I took myself the liberty of training this guy up a little bit in athletics and digging primarily. First and foremost, the biggest change you might notice is I dug up a few things in order to explore more of the map, and in some instances I already took apart quite a few areas to train up my dupe skills as mentioned before. Going through my list here of new things, this sink here is something that I placed because sometimes when you shovel over the compost you get covered in germs, so a sink helps in getting rid of those. Being germ covered only really matters if the duplicants actually eat, so usually when they first go on the pooper, then wash their hands and then eat, it doesn't matter, but it's just good practice to also wash your hands after composting. While exploring I also discovered the teleporter. So this machine we can use to get teleported to the second planetoid, and with that teleporter out of the way we now have all three teleportation elements that connects these two planetoids. And something really small that I just wanted to mention is I set the atmosuit checkpoint to vacancy only, which means they have to have an empty slot before my duplicant can go in this way. I did this because eventually the two entry points are going to be connected here, and I don't want myself to drop the suit on the floor. It needs to be placed back where it was taken from. As for our food, I think we are ready for the next option, which is going to be the refrigerator. This guy, while actively cooling, will suck 120 watts, but once the food is cooled down and just needs to be kept cool, it requires 20 watts. I want to hook this up to the cable that is connected with the coal generators, so let's maybe bridge over. I mean, eventually this is all gonna change. Right now it looks like power line spaghetti, but that's gonna look different once we switch to conductive wires. Here's the fridge already placed. We are only gonna keep things in that actually need to be cooled, so we can exclude nutrient bars and muckroot. And that means in the ration box itself, I only wanna keep the muckroot and nutrient bars. Something else I wanted to do on camera is change the schedule, because I feel like I always have to guess when the break comes and how much time I still have left. I rather have the break exactly at the day and night cycle. So my 3 downtime slots are gonna be the nighttime and then we go to bed in the morning. And this way I know exactly when it's still worth picking something up and not wasting too much time. Another thing I did according to your recommendations is install a mod that allows me to restrict the printing pod to only give me items and no more duplicants. I could have used that mod also to only spawn with 1 duplicant, but to be honest, I don't mind Steve and Marie still hanging around here, haunting the basement every now and then. Right then, in today's episode I figured it is about time we get into proper smelting. I would like to take advantage of the oil that's already chilling around here, and I will also take advantage of all the ice biomes we have hanging around. So my goal for today is going to be to snatch up some crude oil as coolant for the smelters, but we might have to research that first. So let's check out what we need. Metal refinery, where are you? Smelting, right here. It's actually the next research, and we also get access to the metal tile, which is perfect. We should also already have access to the radiant and insulated pipes, so there's nothing that we actually require to get this started. Now, placing a bunch of blocks, I already pushed all the items over, including Marie. I hopefully will not forget about her. She's kind of pushed under the rug right now. But basically, we're gonna continue our ladder shaft here. We're also gonna continue the fire pole. And I guess it's actually not that dangerous since we already have the Atmos suit, so we can make our way all the way down here. Now, I do not want to touch the abyssalite just yet here, because that's dividing the oil biome from the magma biome, and sometimes this can go wrong. Some of the oil we have here can then accumulate at the bottom, and then all we need is a pump in order to get things out of there. So I'm guessing we either continue the cabling down here, or we set something independent up at the bottom, and I think that might be the wiser choice. So let's say we make our way into this biome without losing too much of the chill by just doing something like that with insulated tiles, so no air exchange can go on quickly. We will still be seeping a little bit of chill, but you know, this is gonna last for a very long time, and we still have all the other ice biomes, so it's really just about an initial setup. Of course. Look at that, we just gained a skill point. This is impeccable timing. And now what I would like to see is me researching a little bit to get access to that refinery. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like clockwork. Okay, my refinery is going to be situated here, and all we have to do is set up a cooling loop. And oh yeah, I totally forgot to mention why it's important to use the crude oil. If we check out the freeze point, it is minus 40 degrees. And if we check out the biome right here, it's minus 37, 38 or so-ish degrees here. Which means crude oil is the only suitable liquid I have access to that will not freeze over if I send it through the biome in radium pipes. There we go, we just leveled up our science skill to +5. I just really love the woodchuck on this machine, it's amazing. By the way, also while digging up the terrain, I managed to get some more muckroot, but it is slowly dwindling, so one of the next episodes is definitely going to be about our own food acquisition, and in preparation for that I set up the fridge. But right now all of our fresh food has spoiled. One more load of water. I just love how Nathan picks up 600 kilograms of water at a time. And what the heck are you doing now? Okay, apparently, are we done with the research? No, there's one single point of research left to be done. Yeah, actually I noticed many things about the game I didn't notice before, because I can observe one single duplicant and their priorities are sometimes really messed up because of the queuing of the tasks. For instance, I was bringing water over to the supercomputer, and instead of doing the research immediately after, Nathan decided to go all the way down to do some building, and that is because the task wasn't available just at the point where we put in the water. So you don't really notice all these inefficiencies when you have multiple dupes. Yeah, sometimes I will just have to guide Nathan in order to be more efficient. But I guess that's fine, we can do some building here and then the next morning we're gonna finish the research. There's our next printable, and if we have a look at that now, no duplicants. But we do get more choices as to what we want to spawn. So I think what I'm gonna do here is have another setup with 2 coal generators. In the center we'll have a storage bin with some coal. On the top we'll have the auto sweeper distributing things, and then all we need is a smart battery. Smart battery goes right here together with some cabling. Let's see. We already have access to LED. I want to make most of the automation with LED, by the way, just because it is a really convenient material to pick up. So now with that setup, all we need is a little bit more space for the metal refinery that I'm gonna place right here, and then we're gonna come up with a little bit of a piping system in order to go through the biome and make use of the chill as good as possible. And there is our research completed, finally. Let's have that bad boy right there. And now let me think. This requires 1200 watts if I'm not mistaken. So that means we're going to be needing at least conductive wire, which I don't have access to just yet. So we need to go with heavy watt wire. Going to be using some copper for that and connect all these things together. Wonderful. Here we go. We're breaking into the ice biome for the first time. Let me set up... Yeah, we should probably set up 2 more insulated tiles. I just want to make it really hard for the heat to do the exchange. Okay, the border between oil and magma biome is actually interestingly shaped here. This is going to be quite annoying to deal with, but we also have a good amount of initial oil to start with. In that storage bin, I'm already going to set up coal, and I guess within a cycle or so, we should be done with the construction here, so just give it a minute. Alrighty, here we go. Everything is in place. I had to make the first delivery to the coal generators myself, but now the system should be self-containing, provided that I fill the storage up with coal occasionally. All the power wires are in place. All we are missing is the coolant and the cooling pipes. We will be pumping liquid through the metal refinery. It will be heated up, more or less depending on what we are smelting. And then we have to disperse the resulting heat that got added to the coolant. I'm gonna start with insulated pipes around the metal refinery. I don't want this area to heat up too dramatically. And then I think we're gonna make our way through the snow and ice all the way up to here. And then as of this point, we can switch to radiant iron pipes in order to do a small initial cooling loop. This cooling loop will get bigger, but for now, that's what we're gonna get. At the endpoint right here, I wanna set up a liquid pipe thermosensor in order to check the temperature of the coolant. And if it is at a certain temperature, then we're just gonna let it flow back into the refinery. And if it is still too hot, it will continue inside of the loop. In order to achieve that, all we need is a liquid shutoff, like so, and the pipe will be running into that from the thermosensor. If we are happy with the temperature, we can continue down into the refinery, add it as coolant again. And if we are not happy with the temperature, we're gonna bypass the shutoff and continue inside of the loop again. And now we only have to make sure that the liquid coming from the refinery, the new liquid, does not have the priority, so a cooling loop could go indefinitely. We simply achieve that with a bridge, like so, as the green outputs never have priority. That means liquid bypassing the liquid shutoff will have the priority over the one that is coming from the bridge. Good, and now all we need is a way to actually build this. Let's set up a ladder, and in the future we can even set up metal tiles to be a little bit more efficient about this cooling loop. And before I forget, of course, a automation wire going from the sensor to the shutoff. Wonderful, this is actually looking pretty efficient so far with the building. Even with just one duplicant here, I believe we can strive for greatness in our builds. My thermosensor is already in place, and I think I want to send it back to the refinery as soon as we are below the 100 degrees mark. So we don't even need to cool it down that dramatically, and it can stay inside the refinery as hot as it wants. And I think 100 degrees is a good starting point. Maybe I'm even going to increase it to 200 degrees. Also, I totally forgot to give this the power, and I had to move the auto sweeper by 1 block so I can actually gain access to all of this. One of the biggest challenges to overcome is actually the shipping of materials. For instance, building these pipes takes an enormous amount of time because I have to go back into the base to get all the refined metals. I think at this point I'm gonna go for some more muck root. This is gonna give us a little more time to survive before we have to get serious in terms of food production. As for the coolant here, the crude oil, I think we're gonna be fine just powering this with a manual generator. So I'm simply gonna hook up the pump to it, and then we can use some standard piping to get this all the way up to where we need it. Whoa, let's go through here. And then we're gonna be adding a specific amount to the refinery. And it's always incredible just how quickly the normal pipes are built. You use 4 times the amount of materials for the insulated piping. Oh no, of course, the manual generator cannot be submerged. That was kind of silly of me, but it shouldn't be an issue to just build this a little bit higher up. Also, I just noticed we need to build the pump out of gold amalgam because that has a little bit of a higher overheat temperature. Plus 50 degrees, which means we can take 125 degrees before it overheats, and of course right here it is 80, so it is above the 75 that you get with the standard materials. I think some tasks I'm gonna downgrade, such as the compost, to priority 4 as well as the coal. So whenever I don't have active building and digging commands, Nathan is gonna take care of these issues. Right, looks like the system is in place now. What do you want to do? Going to generate power. Yes, okay, we should observe that. Maybe connect these 2 pipes. There we go, oil is incoming. And of course, I did not focus enough and made the generator out of copper again. Should be made out of gold amalgam. But we can rectify that issue quite quickly. No, I want you to generate power. Yes. Good. Basically, my goal is going to be to fill it with 2 loads. That means until the bar is completely full. At the moment, we have 160 kilograms. We can get 800 kilograms in there, or maybe even more. Let's check it out. That's 700 and 800. Yeah, okay. 800 goes into the refinery, and then everything else is queuing up. So at this point, we can cut this. We can deconstruct the generator again, get rid of everything we just built. And then I guess we also want to extract whatever we have in the pipe. So I'm just gonna let it drop here on the floor. So I'm just gonna let it drop back down into the oil biome. Nice, so this should be a finished metal refinery setup. All we have to do is put it to the test. Let's smelt up some iron and see how it goes. 500 kilograms of it, please. There it is being delivered. In the meantime, my pipes run dry, so I can remove them as well. How wonderful! A historic moment. We are smelting our first metal with the metal refinery. And now we have our coolant being extracted at 150 degrees. So even just smelting iron added about 70 degrees to the oil. While we're waiting, I'm gonna dig up some diamonds, fossil, and lead for the future. However, as mentioned, I don't want any liquid to touch the abyssalite. Sometimes that bugs out. But basically all of this can go and we can work our way over. This is a jumping choya, so nothing bad. Wait a second, I made a silly mistake. Some of the packets are now going over into the liquid shutoff. Of course, that shouldn't happen. I should have built the bridge right here, so it goes into the liquid shutoff first. That means this liquid bridge needs to go, and we actually want to do this as quickly as possible, as it is now not cooling properly. On the other side, we can observe these two packets. This one here already cooled down to 12 degrees. You can see this is quite efficient. It is now minus 10 degrees and it only went through there. Wow. Okay, got the piping fixed. Now this should be working out. No! It actually still attempts to go this way, so by setting up another bridge, then it is going to be extremely clear where the coolant has to go. Thank you. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Now, the fresh liquid can come in, but it can only do so as long as we don't have anything in the cooling loop. Then the oil is being cooled down and the cooled down oil is coming back into the refinery. Yeah, that is basically what I wanted to see. Let's maybe get this at a higher priority, so I'm always working on that when I set something up, because that's usually when I need it. And now we are doing some more crafting and this one should be a lot smoother. So we can do 2 crafts before everything needs to cool down. And this is already cool enough. Let's maybe check out the temperatures here. Yeah, I think this biome is gonna provide a lot of chill for the foreseeable future. So we don't need to worry that this is only gonna last a couple of cycles. It will last 100 or even more. But yeah, I would say with that out of the way, we're gonna wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.